Hello and good evening to all of you out there loving our format. Thanks for joining in to Wissenschaft fürs Wohnzimmer, Science for the Living Room. As always, presented by the Abis for Future, which is a grassroots movement of scientists from the Alfred Wegener Institute that, or inter alia, also try to do more science communication. So I'm Björn Sucko. I work at the Alfred Wegener Institute in the bioeconomy section on trying to create the food of the future from the sea and as sustainable as possible. And I'm really happy that I have Frances with us today. I just met her like a few weeks ago on a workshop in Lille from the Interact North Sea program. And she will talk about her topic, which I find quite interesting. As always, I'm not alone here. I also have Ann-Kathrin and Corinna with me. Ann-Kathrin.
Thanks, Björn. My name is Ann-Kathrin. I'm a PhD student at the Alfred Wegener Institute, and I'm investigating the role of jellyfish in the food web. And if you like this video, please leave us a like, and and follow us for more videos. And with this, I give the word to Corinna.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm Corinna. I also work at Alfred Wegener Institute and I'm a research assistant. And we are working on projects where we try to restore the European oyster in the German North Sea, which is offshore. So not that coastal in our case, but I know other countries also do it more close to the shore. And this is seen as a nature-based solution as far as I know. So I'm pretty interested in what Frances will tell us more about it now. And yeah, if you have any questions to Frances or in general, then just write it into the chat somewhere around us. And then we ask Frances right away after her talk, or even after when you watch it when it's not live anymore. Then we will hand the question over. And yeah, that's all I have to say. And I give the floor to you, Frances.
Yes, thank you very much. I will share my screen firstly. So yes, well, I'm Frances Kannekens. I'm a researcher at the HZ University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands. And I'm asked today to give a short introduction of nature-based solutions in the coastal areas. So I'm going to take you along on this adventure. Well, we are facing some challenges today. And one of these challenges is well, the temperature is rising with 2 Celsius degree. And some scenarios even say that it's up to 4 Celsius degree or even more. And with this global warming, it leads to an increase of risk of flooding, an increased risk of stormy weather, but also warming of the seas and oceans and sea level rise and land displacement of disappearance. So this is what I also depicted in this picture. As you can see, they stated where the sea level would be in 2100. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the transition that we are making currently from the traditional gray infrastructure to the more green and nature-based solutions options that are out there. But before I go into the green nature-based solutions, I will tell you a little bit more about the traditional gray infrastructure, what I share here in this slide with you. On the left, you can see the rock gryones that are placed along the coastline. This is really traditional gray infrastructure in the Netherlands, as well as along the European coastline. You have also the triangle-shaped concrete structures along the coastline. And the Netherlands is also well, famous for its storm surge barriers, as the Eastern Scheldt storm surge barrier that I showed you just yet, or this storm surge barrier in the Maasland Kering, it's called, and it's near Rotterdam. So these are the real traditional gray infrastructure that we know at the moment. But we see that with the change in climate and the intense weather events due to the climate change and the aging of the structures, we are not certain that we can always handle the sea level rises of the storm surges. And also, building and maintaining these gray and hard structures is very expensive. And we can see on the long term that the expenses become very high to make them climate proof. So we need to find some other ways to take care of our coastal shores. And also because implementing these gray solutions has an impact on also the biodiversity within the area, because at those areas where these gray infrastructures are placed, you can see that there is water stagnation, and they disrupt the natural sedimentation flow, which could reduce the biodiversity. So in Europa, the European Commission is promoting the use of nature-based solutions in the North Sea area. And they also defined nature-based solutions in the following way. They are solutions that are inspired and supported by nature, which are cost efficient, simultaneously provide environmental, but also social and economic benefits and help build resilience. Well, this is a lot to take in one sentence. And that's why I want to explain it a little bit easier to you based on some examples that I have prepared for you today. This first slide covers some nature-based solutions. When you look up the internet on nature-based solutions and some examples, you mainly get the mangroves, the coral reefs, the dunes, and the wetlands, as you can see in this slide. And today I would really like to focus on the dunes and the wetlands, but what they all have in common is that they all act as a natural barrier against erosion, coastline erosion, as you can see in this picture here. But also the increase in floodings and the intensity of the storm surges that are coming our way. So one of the things that benefits, or one of the benefits of the nature-based solutions is water safety, and especially the flood protection. We see that dunes and wetlands, they can absorb the force of the storm surges easier, better, than just the traditional gray infrastructures, at least when they increase in intensity at the moment. But we also see that dunes can help with preventing erosion alongside the coast. And I will show it in an example later on in this slide, in this presentation. And they really help with the climate adaptation because nature-based solutions for coastal areas, they can adapt easily to the climate that is changing instead of the traditional gray structures that we have right now. They also are very beneficial for the ecology part. Also, the dunes and the wetlands provide a habitat for the animals and the flora to grow in. They also help with the biodiversity enhancement since they support the growth of plants and supporting animal species to come there and breed there. But they can also improve the water quality in that area because especially wetlands can act as a natural filter by trapping the sediments and filtering by filtering the water. Let's say it, leave it at that. And then they also help with CO2 reduction, especially since they can absorb the CO2 from the area, which leads to a reduction of the CO2 levels in that area. And the last benefit of those nature-based solutions is that they help in the economy and also the well-being of the people in that near area. One of the things that we can address is the fishing support. We see in those areas there's a lot of fishing, and by adding nature-based solutions like wetlands or salt marshes, we can secure that the fish will be around longer than they would if there would be gray structures in there. We also see that they can help with creating recreation spots and help in the education. And on the education part, I will show some pictures on later on in this presentation as well. But for recreation, they are a great way to create hiking paths or cycling paths, as you can see. And it's always lovely to go out in nature. They also help with preserve the heritage around the coastline and capturing the aesthetic values of certain areas, and also maintain them for a longer period than when you would create a great solution in that area, and you would place a concrete wall somewhere in something that is already very nicely aesthetic due to its natural appearance. But it also gives some business opportunity for the locals, but also for tourism. If you create cycling paths or hiking paths, there are always people who can provide some well, I've got the word for it, but it gives you a lot of opportunities to help the locals and to benefit from the nature-based solutions. And I will show it in the upcoming slides as well. So this is the fun part. Here I'm going to talk about some examples of the nature-based solutions within the coastal area of the North Sea. These are all pilot examples that we use in the MANABAS Coast project. It's a project that is focusing on mainstreaming nature-based solutions to create some more awareness of the use of nature-based solutions, and also to create some more knowledge sharing, just like today, to make people aware and share the lessons learned that we've seen until today. So the first one that I want to show you is the sand engine. It's near The Hague in the Netherlands. And it was constructed in 2011 with 21.5 million cubic meters of sand. It was formed in an island in the front of the coastline. As you can see in here, this is a picture of 2011. And the idea is that the sand redistributes, the wind redistributes the sand along the coastline, so along this line, and making it the coastline a bit broader, to help for the safety of the coast, but also to help nature and create some recreation. And the main goal of this sand engine was to determine whether wind and currents would distribute sand to strengthen the coast and create a natural and recreational area. So this is the sand engine over time. As I showed you just yet, this was the situation in 2011. It's just an island in front of the Dutch coastline. And then in even 1 year, you can already see that it's really transformed its shape. You see the lagoons are appearing here, and the coastline is broadening in here. And you can see the development increasing in the next couple of years. And this is a picture of 2022. And this is also the current state. And what we see is that it widens the coast. The dunes are already growing, and it's now a project of 10 years. And they see that the dunes are really increasing in height and in strength, and it's really good for the stability of the dikes itself. But they also help with the recreation in that area. We really see that the kite surfers are taking benefits from the lagoons that were created in here, because they can surf quite easily in there, and also starting kite surfers can practice in there as well. So if we talk about recreation and economic growth, we can also see that it really helps the locals in running those kites schools as well. And what a funny thing to note here is that those lagoons that you saw in this slide, eventually they will disappear. So also the possibility to kite surf there will disappear. And we also hear now some locals telling us that it's really sad to know that they need to find another way to kite surf in that area at that moment when that happens. We have also a lot of research done there at the sand motor. A lot of researchers from the TU Delft are working there. There is a constant monitoring, and in the MANABAS project, we also use that data to compare it with other pilot projects within Europe to see if we can find some similarities or just share some lessons learned in applying these types of nature-based solutions. And we also know that it's a project that is also piloting now in the United Kingdom as well. So it's also a stimulant for other coastal areas to try and find out if it would work within their area. So the second one, the second example I want to share with you is in Oostende. It's in Belgium. It's also a pilot project within the MANABAS project, and it's called Dunes for Dikes. But actually, it is a dune in front of a dike. It's created in 2021, and they created a grid of marram grass in front of the boulevard. This is the boulevard that you see in here, and this is the marram grass that you see today. And they placed that marram grass there because they had a lot of coastal erosion along the boulevard. And as you can see, all that sand was partially swept away by the ocean, but was also blown into the boulevard and covering not only the benches on the boulevard and the trottoirs around there, but also the tram tracks. And one of the things in Oostende is that the tram track that rides there is one of the few oldest tram tracks along the coastline. And with all that sand that is blown into the tracks, it couldn't ride for a couple of days, and it was really inconvenient. But also the sand that was blown up the boulevard needed to be carried out because they couldn't return it back to the coastline because it was polluted since it's on the driveway as well. And since it's polluted, it needed to be taken away, and the costs were immense. So they said we need to come up with another solution, and they tried this dune in front of a dike system. And this is how it looks today as well. And this is the grid system that I was talking about. You can see it here in the corner right side. They created 3 grid systems next to each other, all with different types of marram grass. And they wanted to see, first of all, if it could withstand the storm surges that are coming their way, but also if it could help in keeping the sand off the boulevard. And they really succeeded in that. The marram grass is really growing pretty well, and it's keeping the sand trapped in between them. At the moment, they are still monitoring yearly. The monitoring is done by the Flemish government and some Belgian universities. They are also joining us in the MANABAS project and sharing their insights on monitoring, how they monitor and what they monitor. And at the moment, they are mapping out the evolution of the dunes in front of the boulevard. And they do that with drones, and based on the elevation levels, they can calculate how much sand is kept on the site. and which type of planting of the marram grass is most efficient in that area. Well, that was for the second part. And then the last project that I wanted to share with you is the Hedwige Prosper polder. And this is also a nice case because it's an area that is between the border of the Netherlands and Belgium. And it's an area that was former farmland. And they wanted to restore the natural tidal environment by depoldering that area and allowing the Eastern Scheldt River to create more space and to have more freedom to flow. And with this project, they wanted to create a more natural and safer environment, but they also wanted to enhance the recreation part for cyclists, walkers, and nature enthusiastic in that area. And this is a picture of 2018. You can really see the typical farmer areas in here. And this is in 2022 when they breached the dike. And this part of the dike was breached. I have another picture where I can show it a little bit nicer to see how the water flows. They really wanted to create a nicer area for the birds to live in, to enhance the biodiversity. And that's also something that we are monitoring from the HZ University of Applied Sciences. Our colleagues of the Building with Nature lectorate are doing that. And we also have some summer and winter schools. We had it in 2022 before they breached it to place some monitoring instruments. And that's what you can see in this picture over here. And this is our colleague who is doing some measurements as well, just after they breached the area. And this is a picture of the location of all the monitoring equipment that is located at the Hedwige Prosper polder at the moment. So it's quite some measurement tools that are currently present there. And I think that in September we need to go there, and I will go with my colleague for the first time as well to see how the area has developed in this period. And this was the picture that I was talking about. This is the area how we hope it will evolve in and enhance the biodiversity and create some more room for the birds to nest and to breed. As you can see, we created 2 openings in this dike over here for the Scheldt to enter the area. This is on the Dutch side of the area, and this side is the Belgian part. And they also created a new dike along this road where everybody can cycle or hike and cannot disturb the species that are present in this area. They also created a watchtower, or they are creating it. I think that the platoon where the tower needs to be built on is present there already, but they need to build a tower still. And from that, they also want to create some places for the horeca to develop, but also a viewpoint over the area over here. And I think over here, there is a second one in the Belgium side as well. We see the need for more nature-based solutions for coastal areas, but we are aware that there are still a lot of challenges. One of the challenges that we face is that, as you can see in this picture, but also in the slide about the sand motor, is that you need a lot of space to create your nature-based solution. And in the Netherlands, we also are aware that we don't have that space everywhere. We also see a switch in the way of thinking, and we are aware that not everyone is already on the same level and taking nature-based solutions into account when they talk about flood defenses. And projects like the MANABAS project, we are trying to make that shift in thinking, and also joining in this presentation today. I hope that some other people will also get inspired by these nature-based solutions and maybe get interested in it and go and search for some solutions in their area as well, and get enthusiastic about it. But the last one thing that I would really like to address is also something that you can see in this picture here. Nature-based solutions need time to grow, and the areas need time to develop themselves. So when we create nature-based solutions, the first couple of years, it could be that it's not so diverse as that you would have expected when you see the promoting pictures of it, or like this picture where we show how green everything is. It can take a couple of years for it to develop. So that's why we also say within our MANABAS project, but also at the HZ University of Applied Science, that we really want to see green where it's possible, but we need gray. So place green where it's possible and use gray where it's needed. So this was the end of my introduction on nature-based solutions. I hope it was a little bit clear for you all. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me today after this chat or anytime soon. So I would be really happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francis. Thank you. All right, so this was Francis' presentation. Thank you for that. For me, it was a bit dreamy now today, first real day of Wissenschaft, fürs Wohnzimmer, science for the living room, and hot weather up here meant me thinking a lot about going to the beach, which is too far away to do it on a working day. So it was nice that you took us there. So before we start, I will shortly let you guys know out there what we are gonna see in 2 weeks from now. On the 16th of May, we will have Jana Rückert from the University of Bremen, and she will be talking about sea ice remote sensing and give us a few more insights into how satellite remote sensing is working in detail. So, but back to today's topic, back to nature-based solutions, and let's talk green, our Green Deal. But is there anybody else having questions on this? Corinna, are there any questions on the chat yet?
Not yet, but maybe they need some time. So I jump in with the question. So thank you very much for your presentation. It's always really nice to see that there are still possibilities to bring back something that we might see as lost. So I have kind of a really practical question, because you showed this in your last example. You showed how you were opening up the dike again.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering what is needed to open it up again, because is it like really heavy machinery, or can you do it by hand?
No. They used really heavy machinery to open it up, but they did do the preparations up front. So they created this area, as you saw it in the picture already, a little bit, so that the water has areas to flow in and get working as a wetland. And that's also nice to know. Our department had also a project, Water to Sea, and we used that area and the dike that was breached for some experiments on dike stability as well. So before they breached it, we had the opportunity to use the dike and demolish it as much as possible, all for science, of course, but it was really nice to see. So no, it's really the heavy machinery that opened up the gap. But we went to a pilot site in France, and there was an area sort of like of what we also had in the Eastern Scheldt, and they also wanted to open up that area, but the people were really against it, so they postponed it. But then after one stormy night, the dike breached by itself. So then it opened it up by itself, and the people were really okay with it when it happened. So maybe it's also just a sort of waiting for the right moment for it to happen. So you never know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Anne-Catherine, do you have a question?
Yes, actually, yes. Thanks first for your really nice presentation. It was really interesting to see applied science, kind of, and not just microscopic stuff. I was wondering, do you think that at some point there will be a solution for all problems in coastal areas that can be nature-based?
Well, I think it's at this moment it's quite difficult because just like I said, we know that we are facing some difficulties more challenges in getting the right areas, but we also see that along the European coastline there's a lot of differences between the countries as well in how to protect the areas. And in France they have a lot of room, but there are farmers who own the land. In the Netherlands it's more governmental based. So I think eventually we will reach a point that we can use more nature-based solutions, and it's more common to use nature-based solutions. I also think that the shift in thinking will open up the possibility to greener the gray solutions that we see right now. I know that there's somebody also looking into that within the MANABAS project to see how can we green up those storm surge barriers, for example, the afsluitdijk that we also have. I think that's one of the ways to approach it. So I don't think that we can completely go for nature-based solutions, but I think that there's a nice way to get a hybrid version of the nature-based solutions and the gray solutions combined in the next couple of years. But I hope personally that someday we reach that point that we don't even have to think about, oh, would it be a gray solution or a green solution, but that we think about the green solution, and that we need to think, oh, maybe we need some enhancement with a gray solution, for example, that it's the other way around.
Yes,
So.
that would be really nice. Björn, do you have a question?
Absolutely. I mean, as you have already noticed, or those for you that watched us for longer, I love surfing, and when I saw the sand engine, I think it was called, I was already thinking about also like riding waves, not only kiting there, but I could see the potential is huge there. And I really hope that, we get to this point where, I mean, you just touched upon that, that we get to a point where we don't like work against nature, but actually understand it and then work with nature, because then it seems to be a lot easier, although it takes more time. And I guess it's also a harder sell, because if you do a gray solution, people know exactly what they're getting. And you just really demonstrated, I think, in all projects, you do not necessarily know that, at least not yet. And it might be different in every location, right? So I was wondering and you touched upon that also, the stakeholder involvement, and how do you get, a permission for this, and how do you get everybody together and then work your way through it with the community there, or what is needed from those three projects that you've mentioned, but generally speaking, from the MANABAS project, let's say,
from the MANABAS project, what we learned was that it really differs per country as well. For the sand engine, it was the government that also was a big stakeholder in it. So it was more national orientated and placed, because like I said, it's also for science enhancements. It's for the coastline protection. But in the project of the Hedwige Prosperpolder, it was a real struggle to get that area free. And there were a lot of protests against placing the Prosperpolder as well. So that's up until today it's still a very sensitive subject to talk about. And I think that only over time the stakeholders will see the benefits of it. Just like I said, because if you walk now on the area, it's all way greener than it was in the pictures that I just shown you. But that gray mass of area was what the people saw when they were working on that field, and they saw those big machineries coming in every day. Well, in the first place, that doesn't seem really green at all. So and that's why I also said it really needs some time to see how the area will flourish after that. But what we try to do in the MANABAS project as well is to learn from each other. How do you approach your stakeholders? Do you take them into account upfront, or how do you reach out to them? Do you know what their needs are? So it's really crucial that we work on that business case for nature-based solutions as well. What we saw, for example, in the Belgium part is that for the Hedwige Prosper polder, we did a lot of research on the people's perspective on nature-based solutions and the change that was coming up. And we talked about it with our colleagues from the Belgium side a few weeks back when we were discussing the MANABAS project. And they said, well, we want to do that right now for this June before dike system that we created in Oostende, because we never thought about it to ask the people what they would think of this nature-based solution. So they are now trying to get to know what the people thought when they placed that or installed that nature-based solution in front of their houses. So you can see a real switch in approach as well. But like in this European project, it's also really nice to see how they approach it. I know that in a France pilot that we went last year, the mayor was at our Q&A session and was really enthusiastic about the nature-based solutions that they placed in that area. And we really learn from the French how they approach those stakeholders, and not only the municipalities, but also the horeca and the camping sites that were along that. So it's really nice to learn from each other, but we're not on the same level right now. That's something we need to learn.
Thank you. Any more questions, Corinna? If not, we make another round with our questions.
Yeah, I don't see any, but I have a follow-up question on the stakeholder involvement, because I saw the pictures you showed with the when you planted the grasses in this. I forgot the name, but you know.
Oh yeah, the marm grass in the June for dike.
Yes. And it looked like a lot of work and a lot of grass planting. So I was wondering if you think or do citizen science approaches as well to kind of get people into the actively restoring or actively planting, because I can figure that would also enhance the understanding of how things work.
Well, that's nice that you ask that, because that's something that we are really discussing within our MANABAS project, like something that we need to learn. How do we involve those people more actively in it? Because we can give those presentations when we do the stakeholder involvement. We can create some events, but it's also very narrow to the people who are already interested in the nature-based solutions, who are mostly coming to those types of events. And I think that if you want to do reach out to the whole area, I think that those active actions could really help in getting an understanding, and maybe not just the planting, but also tell them what type of plant it is and why you planted there, and with some small demonstration maquettes, it would really help. And that's also something we would like to do within the HZ. That's why we also in applied science, we want the students to go out, that they not only do the desk research, but also get their feet wet and go out and plant those things and see how it is to monitor in such an area. For example, one thing that we also are doing with our students of civil engineering is next week we're going out in the field and then they have to create a grid themselves for detecting beaver holes and animal burrows in dikes. So then they can see how they can measure it, how they can do those measures and monitoring and in the field, so that they really get a feeling of what it is to work with nature as well. So but yeah, since we're doing it in the HZ, we really want also to bring it to the locals and to give them the same experience as well. So it's something that we definitely want to do more in the future.
Yeah, I have the feeling that really helps, and also then they multiply what they learned, and then you have the best advertisement.
But you're so enthusiastic about it. Shall I write your name for the next field trip?
Yes. Anne-Catherine, do you have another one?
Yes, I have another one. You already mentioned that it takes some time always for nature to recover. But I was wondering how long it takes until those grasses that you planted for the dunes actually reduces the sand displacement. Is it something that you can see within weeks, or does it actually take months?
No, this one of the marron grass, it was within a year that it was high enough to reduce the sand. How do you call it? The sand displacement, displacement through the boulevard already. So it was something that they also didn't expect to take this time, because they expected it would take some more time, but they were really surprised by this, that it was within a year that it really helped with the displacement of the sand, and they caught it. So that's why they also keep on monitoring to see if it was just a thing that was due to the weather or anything for the upcoming years. And that's why they also planted different types of marron grass to see which type is growing better or is rooting better to help with the stability of the dikes itself. So it's something they keep monitoring. So yeah, but it grows quicker than they expected.
That's awesome. Björn, do you have a question?
I have my last question. I mean, I have more here written down, but I think I keep it to one to make it short. I think you greatly showed like the benefits, and it really becomes visual when you see it after years and years, and you nicely described that, Bo, I think in all cases. And I mean, it's just nice to be around nature and really experience that and get it back instead of concrete blocks protecting a sandy beach. I was wondering about the costs. It seems probably not a straightforward answer, because there's some things that you can't like measure upfront. For example, when you said, okay, now they're kite surfers, there's more kite surfers coming, and they can leave money, but they are. So, but we never really know when it happens, how long it happens. From your experience from the project, do you see, is it more expensive, or may it be cheaper, or is it cheaper on the long run?
Well, that's something that we cannot tell right now, but it's something that we are looking into it, because that's what we want to know, because we want to compare it to the typical gray infrastructure that we're using right now. And for the gray infrastructure, we can really tell, well, we need so much concrete, it needs to be this height, we know how much it will cost. But for nature, we cannot do that yet. And that's also something that our lectorate is working on. How can we make nature an asset, like a normal, a traditional asset, that we can also pin some costs on it to make that a comparison between the two. But yeah, it's not something that is already out there, but it's something that we are aware of, because what we also see within this project is that there is funding for the first part of placing or installing the nature-based solution, but then for the monitoring, it keeps on going, and mostly there is no money for that after the project ends. So that's something that we are getting aware of right now, that we also need a business case for after that period of emplacement, after the pilot period, so to say. But there is no hard number that we can pinpoint on, oh, if you want to create a wetland, you need to pay this or that, like we could do with dike reinforcements or anything. So that's really something we need to look into.
Okay. Great. I've learned a lot. I hope that maybe you have another few more years in this project to maybe create some muscle reefs close to the shore that break the waves before they approach the sand for us surfers. Let me know if that's the case. I want to thank you for coming, and in this
thank
case
you very much.
also the Interact North Sea program for funding this project, and also a project I work on. So if you see any Chinese mitten crab crawling there, let me know.
Yeah, I will make a picture next time.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Yeah, other than that, thank you guys for joining in again tonight or whenever you do it. And I hope we did a good job in transporting some new messages. Better green than gray, but gray where it's needed, maybe. We'll see that. Thanks to all of you. Thanks, Francis, for coming. And I wish you a very pleasant night, and hope to see you soon. In 2 weeks, we'll be online again with a German-speaking episode on sea ice remote sensing. So good night. Bye, guys. Wissenschaft fürs Wohnzimmer. Alrighty.